Today we are going to study about polymorphism in Python. So polymorphism is a very important concept in the OOPS. Like let me give you a real-time example that what does polymorphism means. So let us say that let's take an example of a cricket captain. So let's take example of Pakistani team's captain like Babar Azam. So basically Babar Azam is acting as a captain, as a fielder and as a batsman. So he is acting three different responsibilities at same time. Like when he is on batting, he is as a batter. On ground, he is as a fielder, as a captain as well. So the same person is existing in multiple forms. He has different roles and responsibilities in each situation. So that's the key point about the polymorphism, that existence of anything in multiple forms. So let's see in code that how can we define our polymorphism concept in OOPS. So let us take a very basic example here. I am defining a function using the def keyword and I am naming my function. So here I am naming my function as learn and I am passing two arguments in it, like first a and then b. So these are my two arguments which it will take from the user, or we can define it using hard coded. So we will see it. So what does this function will do? It will return us what it will return. It will return a plus b here. So let me execute it, and it executes successfully. Now let me call this function. So how can we call our function? So we have to call our function with the name of the function. So I am calling a function with a name and passing two parameters here. Like these are two parameters earlier passed. Now we have to pass those arguments which we have to pass as parameters. So let me take here 5 comma 6. Now what is the function of this function? So it will return us a plus b. Like these two parameters which we have passed is returned as argument here. So let me just run it. You can see that it is adding for us. So now basically it will get to know that this is an integer and this is also an integer. Let me again call a function here and let me add it a plus f. Now we can see that a is not defined. Why it is giving us a not defined? Like earlier we had passed here. So let me just give it in a string. I just missed it. Let me just give it string, and now if I run it, you can see that it had added two strings for us. So what is the function of this function? So it has just written a plus b. So this plus operator basically adds and concatenates. It add for the integer and concatenates if it is a string. So basically for integers it is adding and for string it is concatenating. So this is a basic example of polymorphism, that this simple function of addition will return plus when it is an integer and it will concatenate when it is a string. So now let us see that how can we implement polymorphism using classes. So let me create a class for us using class keyword, and let me define a name for the class. This is my like coding 1. So this is my class name, and I am defining a function inside the class using the def keyword, and this def keyword, now this def keyword will define our class. So define our function. So I am creating a function with the name syllabus, and now I am using the I am passing the self here to link it with our class. And let me just write here a print statement like this. This is my coding 1 syllabus. Now this function is associated with this class using the self keyword, and let me just execute it. Now this is completed. Now create me another class. Let me using coding 2. Again I am going to assign a new function here like def keyword, and let me create a function name here. So we are going to use the same name as above we had used for the coding 1 class. So I am going to use. So now let me pass the self here to link it with our class, and now you can see that we have the same name of our function for both the classes. Here we are also using the same name, and here we are using the same name. Here I am printing another statement that this is my syllabus for this is my coding is my coding to syllabus. Now you can see that I have created two functions here, like first class contains syllabus and other class also contains syllabus. So let me create another function here which is independent function. It is not the part of any class, so it is just a separate external function. So I am like class dash parse. So this is our parser function. It will parse through it through this classes. So let me just call it parser, and let me pass some argument to it, because we have to pass some argument to read the data from our classes. So let me pass here the object of the class, so class dash object, because we have to create the object of our classes to call the classes. So here I am using a for loop for I in. So from where it has to iterate through the class object. So I am using the class object. So let me pass this argument here, that class object, and now it will iterate through the class object, and what it has to do, it will call the function for each of this attribute of the class object. So this is our function, this is also our function, so it has to iterate through this function. So let me call our syllabus here. Now we had basically iterated through the object of the class when we will create the object of this class, and it will call this function from our classes. So let me just execute it, save it for here, and let me create object of class. So for first class I am creating code1 object for this coding 1 class. So coding 1 class I am creating the object name of code1, and for coding 2 class I am creating to code2 equal to coding 2 class object. Now we have created object for both our classes. This is for coding 1 class, and this is for coding 2 class. So now let me pass these objects to our class object parameter, like earlier which we are taking here. So let me just take a class object, and to this class object we have to pass these objects which we had created for different classes. So let me just pass here, therefore code1 comma code2. So now we had passed them, and now if we just call our function again here, like class object, so this is our class parser. So let me just call this function here. I am calling this function, and to this function the argument which we have to pass is now class object which we had asked here. So let me just copy it from here, and I am going to paste it here. Now if I run it, you can see that we are getting both the functions from different objects of the classes. So you can see that we have both the functions with the same name, like here we also have the same name function, here we also have the same name function, but it is acting differently for each class. So for first class it is calling this print statement, and for second class object it is calling this statement. So we have the same name function, but it is acting differently for all the objects of the classes. So we had passed the objects, and for each object it ran for that function which was the object of that class. That code1 was the object of first class, so it first printed this statement, and code2 was the object of coding 2 class, then it printed this statement for us. So this is a simple example of polymorphism using class and object functions. So now you can see that how polymorphism works in our coding. So if anywhere interview someone asks about what is polymorphism, so you can justify them by saying that I can like I am working in this company, my behavior will be different. When I am at home, my behavior will be different. When I am with friends, my behavior will be different. So in all the conditions I am the person who remains the same, but my behavior changes. So same this implies on the coding as well. So in our coding we can also achieve polymorphism. So that's it for today. Please try to practice different combinations and permutations so that you can get better understanding about the polymorphism. So that's it for today. See you next lecture. Bye.